swiftly to the second section of the TMM this evening as well. Obviously, there has been reports this evening as of recording, especially over the last weeks as well. Dave and Bart have alluded to these as well. Let's quickly show, obviously, if that will let me. Give me 1 second there, chat. I'll just quickly show you that. Obviously, the latest up-to-date with Luis Diaz is not only informed Liverpool of his desire to leave, but has also made it clear to LFC that he would like to join FC Bayern if possible. The transfer is approved, allegedly, by Vincent Kompany as well. There's no full agreement between Bayern and Diaz yet. However, personal terms are not an issue, with potential contracts running until 2029 as well. It's not up to Bayern it's up to Bayern to reach the agreement with Liverpool. If not, Diaz could join another club. Barcelona remains interested, but would currently be unable to register him as well. That's coming from Florian Plassenberg of Sky Germany as well. A lot of conflicting reports, especially over the last couple of weeks as well. I think that as fans and as a club, most importantly, Liverpool we're not going to get bullied into a situation where we're trying to sell players on the cheap. No, if you want one of our players, Diaz 28, as Bart will allude to in his analysis in a little second as well, in terms of he done really well last season, got like 14, 15 odd goals in the Premier League, was instrumental, quite patchy in moments, as we all know. But Bayern, cough up the money. You had it for weights anyway. So you've got the money. So Bart, obviously we've been linked, of course, with obviously Rodrygo, the Brazilian winger. It was reported over the last week or so as well that Liverpool had allegedly, in certain reports around Europe, that Liverpool had sent over a delegation for the Brazilian, and Liverpool were in negotiations, but time will tell with that. But in terms of obviously a very high caliber player, Rodrygo as well, we've got a couple of options down that left hand side as well. Gordon has been linked. Obviously, he's already been on TMM, and we're going to have a little look at him as well this evening. But a lot of options, Bart, in regards. But first, we'll just have a look at Luis Diaz in terms of, you just let us know your analysis really on Diaz.
I think people might get me wrong, and I think you said before, I've got no issue with Diaz, right? But he's 28. He's up for a new contract, and it'll be a big contract. It's his last contract. And myself and a few others who've written about, it's that quandary as a club. Do you give a guy who's had his best ever season, right, who's still a bit patchy, best ever season, a 5-year deal with more money, right? That's a risk that he's going to be able to maintain that at 28, right, as he's entering twilight of his career. So there could be 2 years past he's 30, where he completely falls off a cliff and you've got no resale value. So that's a boring financial point of view, because the fans, you're like, yeah, a great season, let's reward him. But just the evidence is, this is his best ever season. He's been here, a period of time now, and he's never really been able to put it together for a sustained period of time. So that's only been my thing with him. He's got 2 profiles on F3. You can look at it as a winger. He does. It's a bit of a patchy profile, right? Off the ball, he does good for tackles. He's not great for blocks and interceptions. Carrying the ball, which is what we know him for. He's only 61st. He doesn't do many progressive carries, so he doesn't carry from deep, carries further up. His pass completion is good, but that's kind of a standard Liverpool player thing. And in the box as a winger, he's 92nd for non-penalty goals, shot creating action 75th, but he doesn't get those shots. He's still shots total. He's only 2.5 a game. You look at him as a forward, his off-ball work is exceptional as a forward, right? So when he's played in that false 9 position, he does interception tackles in the green and 97 percentile for tackles, which is amazing. That's a pressing and nicking it, right? If you look at him in between the boxes as a forward, again, he goes from being a patchy to a consistent 98, 97 percentiles. Shots wise in the box, 2.5 puts him a little bit lower down as a forward, because you'd be taking, we've seen the last 2 we looked at, 3 or 3.5 shots a game. He's taking a whole shot less a game, right? But shot creating action is 97 percentile. So if he's not taking a shot, he's creating something for somebody else. So there is a lot to like about him, right? and I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking his ability as a player, right? If you look at his minutes and in the league minutes alone, if I just find it written down, that's 2-3. All right, so that's pretty much on par or more than the other two lads, right? So, and he's been consistent with that in the league. So there's a lot to like about Diaz. He's involved in play. You know, he wants to be on the ball. He's touching it. He's in the areas. There's lots of things to like about this kid. That's his heat map as a far more expansive than the other two lads we just looked at. Yeah, he picks it up in the left half space, but that's kind of what you'd expect for him, right? Off ball, again, he actually does some off ball work. So again, he's tracking back. He's putting the work in, right? So there is a lot to like about Diaz. So that's just not knocking it. It's just saying he's 28. Is it, if you look at his career here over the seasons for Liverpool, he's, what was that? That's his goals there, on par when he first joined, just above the season later. Last season, 4 under. This season, bang on. And assists, he goes from being on par or slightly over. Yeah. So there are some things there. If you look at situation, generally scoring from open play, doesn't do much from the other areas, all right? Doesn't take penalties for us either. Shot areas, if we look at last season, he changed quite a bit. He came in a bit. Season before, he was a little bit all over the place around here. Whereas Slot got rid there. So that's the season before last. And his Slot reduced it and just made him shoot a lot more in the box and also between the posts. So there is some, what I'm trying to say, he's improved. I'm not sure he can improve.
I was going to say, I was going to say, obviously the two players we just mentioned anyway, in terms of Isaac and Ekitike, do you think this could be suggesting that it going into not just this season, but beyond under Arne, a different shift in terms of the mentality of a centre forward or striker, of what he wants? As he said there, with his heat map in terms of defensive abilities, he's all over the pitch. But does this kind of suggest, like, Arne, obviously he had Jimenez at Feyenoord as well, obviously before he's currently at AC Milan, I think, now as well, like a more of a box, like number 9, an actual, like a Robbie Fowler-esque or and not just a naturally gifted finisher, just to, like, I think the game that sticks out to me and a lot of Liverpool fans is, I don't know how you feel, is obviously the game against Paris Saint-Germain, when you've not got the ball, that when you are on a counter-attack, you might not have a lot of counter-attacks, but when it matters, we need someone in the 6-yard box that will be a clinical finisher. Like,
and I think you're right. I think it's that ability to finish in a tight game at big chances. I mean, season before last, we're going for the title. We've got City at home. It's 1-0, I think it was. He's clean through on goal, 1-1 with a keeper twice, puts it both over. And for me, that was one of the moments where title attack fell off. If we beat the City, then I think we would have got top of the league. And who knows?
Momentum, innit?
Momentum, Klopp's last season, you never know, but we didn't beat City. We should have done. And I'm not blaming it just on Diaz, but he did have 2 cracking chances. He just needed to have a bit more finishing about him. So, and if you look, he's actually on, what's that, 12? 12 and 12. Even Hugo, 15 and 9, that before. So, playing as a 9. So, there are different roles, and I get that, and I accept that, all right? So, there is a forward here, forward left. As a forward of his own, he's actually 1 under for XG. When he's played as a forward on the left, he's 4 under. So, I think it's just, if we just compare that to just last season. So when he was playing last season as a forward, he finished 1-1-8. So in and around the right areas, but the other areas he's under and over. So there are some things. So what I'm trying to say, Diaz is a good player. It's more about a contract thing for the club. If you compare him to Rodrygo, right, who is the guy who's been linked, he has 3 profiles. I don't think we're going to use him in midfield, but if we look at him as attacking winger, he's in the 80th percentile in between the boxes, and he's higher than Diaz off the ball as well. In the box, not as good. Shots, for example, about the same. Shot creating actions, about the same, but then his assists and his goals were a little bit less. Okay, so there are some differences there. Rodrygo can play. I think he can play left and right.
Yeah, left, right, and through the middle as well. And just a quick note as well. Obviously, the ability to press as well. He ran the most for Real Madrid last season in the Champions League. So that ability to press, what you need really in it as well, Bart.
Oh, 100%. And you've got, I think people, if you take last season out of the equation, right, because the big man from PSG arrived and therefore took him out of the side. But pre that, so the team that actually beat Liverpool in the last Champions League final they were in, this guy was in, right? So he was an instrumental part of that side, playing down the middle, and he'd also flow out to the other wings to help out, right? So he can be a very good player. I think people just need to not think about last season's contribution, because if you've gone from being the centre forward to being knocked out because some guys come in, it's probably going to affect your attitude, right? I would suspect. But comparing him here with Diaz, the blue here, this is both as AMs, so both as that sort of attacking midfielder. Rodrygo outperforms him in terms of passing and progresses and take-ons, but Diaz has got slightly more non-penalty goals. Okay, so some things to take for. If you flick it to forwards, they are. Rodrygo goes from being, that's where he starts turning it. Again, Diaz was good off the ball as a forward. Rodrygo is as well in the 90th percentile for those three. Diaz, I think it was in the 80th, if I'll come back and have a look. All in the midfield, all of the stuff in between the boxes, apart from their touches in the box, are all in the 99th or 98th percentile. So as a forward, he's doing the passing, the covering, the carrying the ball progressively. In the box, though, he's in 97th percentile for shot creating actions. Shots, he's set at 2.5, which is not so great, but he's doing so it's XG, so expected assists. He's actually a high percentile, so he's assisting the ball more in the box and taking the shot on. So he's a different type of forward than it's similar to Diaz, to be fair. So, but if you overlay the two there, very similar as a forward. But Rodrygo more assists and actually more off the ball work than Diaz. But again, Diaz outperforming in scoring ranks. So yeah, I think Rodrygo, I think is he younger? He's 24. So he's 4 years younger. You're probably going to give him the contract you might that Diaz was after, so he's going to get a bigger contract, but you'll get 4 years out of him. Doing that thing, whereas with Diaz, there's a risk you might only get 1 or 2, right? Looking at the go on.
I was just saying, he's been there, done that, mate, hasn't he? Won the Champions League, he's played in that elite level environment. He's been there, won a t-shirt, really, hasn't he? For Real Madrid.
He has. He's won Champions League. There's a lot to be said about buying winners. He's involved in play here. What I'm trying to show here, he's involved heavily in the pass networks. I know Madrid have a lot of the ball, and that's a fair crack to have a go at. He is involved, but he creates nearly 5% of their threat. Pass completion over 90 forward is pretty exceptional. Most of ours get about 75, 80. So very, very tidy looking after the ball. If you look at his threat, his map on the right in the game. This game here I did for him. So, but he can operate, we know he can operate both sides. Off the ball, we know he's not not a strong point, should we say, but Madrid don't do a lot of work off the ball, all right? So, because they have like high percentage amount of ball in games. So, yeah, for me, I think I think it could be a very astute signing if the deal is right. I don't know. Have you got any idea of the numbers that are being
bandied around? 60, 70, 80 million euros, which a similar fee in regards to, obviously, if Liverpool do sell Diaz. That's what we mentioned in this section as well. I think a lot of this deal might hinge on regards to if we do offload Diaz, and as you said already on the analysis, quite similar in certain aspects of his style of play as well, mate. Yeah. So, as you said, he's younger as well. So, how would that fare for you in regards to obviously the positioning and statistics as well?
I think just showing up what I think. So last season he got should have got 12, scored 10. So he was underperformed. Sorry, season before last season he underperformed. This season in his limited minutes, he only played just sort of 2,000 minutes because he was second fiddle coming on a sub. He scored 6, should have scored 4.7, so overperformed. And same with assists, he slightly overperformed assists as well. Only should have assisted 4 goals, assisted 5. So if you look at how he was open play, majority from corners. If you look at shot zones, he's interestingly penalty box, which is what you want. And so it's generally shot types. What's he dominant on? He's right foot dominant. Left foot's a bit of a stander, and he doesn't really head the ball. So there's some things to look at. But for me, for that, if you sell Diaz, I think that the thing I saw today was 80 million might get it done for Bayern, maybe.
Yeah.
And you're getting a player in who is 4 years younger, has won a lot in the game, has similar, if not better, profile than Diaz in some areas, and some areas not. So has an opportunity to. And again, he has 4 years worth of slot worker with improving him. That seems like a very smart piece of business. To be fair, that seems quite smart. If you compare him to Gordon, who is the other option that we've been looking at, he takes up. Gordon's involved as well, has different profiles in F-Brief, we'll look him up in a minute. He's involved in a different. Newcastle play differently than us and Real Madrid. They don't. They sometimes
on the front foot.
Liverpool
there on the front foot, aren't they? So
whereas Newcastle can play a bit of counter-attacking, which Gordon's very wide in these areas, creating threat, which is not a problem. It's only different areas to what Rodrygo and Diaz do. Off the ball, quite deep involvement, but again, that's them banking. They generally drop off and defend. If they can't win it high, they drop off and win it. So there is some things with Gordon to be aware. He did take shots in this game, but no, I think I'm trying to load him up for his F-Brief, but I think Rodrygo makes a lot of sense. He's very similar to Diaz. I think Gordon is a different kind of player altogether. Just get it to load up. It would be business, but I'll just wait for that. Previous season.
It's all good. No, it's the thing that whilst that loads, like Gordon makes it as in chat as well. Like I think he's my personal. I know obviously the option there is there for Rodrygo. I love both of them, but obviously that English tax as well. But I think similar age profile. Him and Rodrygo, aren't they? Gordon and Rodrygo.
25, 24. Yeah.
Plenty of time to develop.
Yeah, this is Gordon's, right? And I don't know what. When I last watched Gordon play, I thought he had a good game against us, but I talked to other Newcastle fans, maybe dropped off in the season, I don't know, but he said maybe not had as good a season as he was, because he was linked to us last summer, wasn't he? And he'd probably come off a really good season back then, so this is a little bit different. But you initially, there's not a lot of green there. This is last year, right? It's not as good as Rodrygo or Diaz. There's only one profile. They've got him down as attacking winger or mid. And if you compare him to Rodrygo pretty much outdoes him on all the metrics, bar aerials and non-penalty XG, creation and assisted goals. So it's a bit, they're the same age profile. One's won everything in the game, and the metrics are a little bit higher. In terms of moving from La Liga to England, the tax is, I think it's about between 5 and 10%. So it's a pretty easy, it's an easy walk, should we say, than a transition. Sorry, that's a good word. A transition than other leagues. Newcastle, in terms of his minutes last season, just trying to find out where he was in the league. So he actually played slightly less last season in the league for Newcastle for 2-4. I think I said last time I'd actually have been happy with Gordon because at that time they had given us a patchy season, right? So that was what we were looking at. Now Diaz has gone up a level, and now I'm like, Gordon hasn't had such a good season. I think there's a bit of a gap. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
I think the year before last, it was like 10 goals as well. I think like 10 goals, 10 assists as well. And like I think that was the year, like around 22 as well. But I think, as you all know, Bart, and for obviously the data will prove it as well. When you go to bigger teams, like you're playing with better players as well, like both like his XG and all that. And no respect to Newcastle, but there's levels really in regards to moving from the expectations of a Newcastle to a Real Madrid or a Liverpool as well. And as similar when we mentioned with Isaac and Ekatike, with Ekatike, as long as whoever comes in through the forward line, just hitting the ground running, most importantly. And I think he speaks really well, Gordon. But I do, like, when you've went through a lot of that data as well for Gordon, it is, I think a lot of Liverpool fans might be a bit concerned as well. But I think in regards to how, have you any more that you wanted to add in regards to this analysis as well, miss?
Is there any more?
Yeah,
it was for the forwards. No, I did. How would you rank them?
Yeah, I was going to say how in the pecking order out of those that you've mentioned for you personally, looking at all the data.
I think, as I said last time, I think I was very much in the Gordon camp. I was like, you know what, if Diaz wants to go, fine, he goes. And I think Gordon, because he's younger, you could build him up, and he just had a good season. Now, a year on, and football's a funny game, right? He's not had such a good season. He's still a good player, right? It's not knocking him. He's still a good player. But if you're talking a similar kind, I mean, Gordon's also not going to be cheap, right? I don't know what the fee's banning about, but I can't imagine it'll be.
They're not best to please Newcastle currently at the moment.
No,
for Liverpool, especially.
I think this deal might be incredibly difficult to do. Whereas last season, because he was approaching the end of a contract, it was going to be slightly easier. So I think personally, for the amount of money that seemingly we could get Rodrygo for, and if Diaz does go, I think Rodrygo is the sound bet for me. If you think about our front line last season, and they were great, by the way, as I said, Mo, Diaz, and Cody, brilliant, right? But if you then change that up and you end up with a front line of let's just touching all the wood in the world and praying to all your deities that it's Mo, Isaac, and Rodrygo. To me, that's a massive upgrade. And then you've got a Verts sat behind them, potentially. Yeah. Or if you play Verts to the left, you play Rodrygo down the middle, covering up for the Isaac minutes problem, right? Again, those combinations, you've still got Cody in the mix, yeah? You might still have Chiesa around. That combination of 6-7 attacking players is really something to be excited about, I think, next season with Red. So, for me, it's not my money, but if it was my money and I'll be selling Diaz for 80 million euros, Brown just said, you can have Rodrygo for 80 million euros, I'd do that deal.
Yeah, if you could pick two of them as well, mate, in terms of, I think obviously Rodrygo was a fan favourite for you as well, and a lot of Liverpool fans out there. How would you like the final analysis, really, the overall package in terms you have to pick two? And who, if you went Rodrygo, who would the other striker for you be in terms of getting the best, facilitating in terms of ticking all the boxes from a data point of view, from your in regards to Isaac?
It's still be Isaac, to be honest. And actually, to be fair, with Rodrygo's availability being, I should check his minute, he's an injury record, but his availability for me would help make up for Isaac's minutes going. So those would be the two picks that are just short of £200 million, which I never thought I'd be saying Liverpool spending that kind of money, but soon they're going to. Because of that fact, if it wasn't for the fact that I think we need to win in the next 2 years,
win now.
I probably would be like, no, let's not spend that money on Isaac. Let's go for Hugo. But because I think we've got a slightly different mood, I'd go for Rodrygo and Isaac. I wouldn't be unhappy with Hugo and Rodrygo. Definitely not. Those would be my top two choices if you had to push me.
There we go, Reds. So that has been Transfer Market episode 35, I think it is, this evening. Bart, for all your analysis and all your expert insight, as always, very much appreciated, mate. And thank you for, I've learned a lot, and a lot of Liverpool fans out there as well have certainly learned a lot. But if it's the first time tuning in this evening for the Transfer Market Stat Me Up episode as well, make sure you head over to Anfield Index, Anfield Index Pro, I'll get there, to find out even more and listen to the full podcast in its full entirety as well. But Bart, for all your time and all your analysis, a massive thank you from me and everyone at home watching and listening. Have a good rest of your day as well, mate. And yeah, as we said already, hopefully Liverpool can spend all the pocket change in the world that we've got, mate.
Exactly. All the best, Reds.
All the best. Reds, look after yourself and see you on the next one. Hopefully Dave will be back from his holiday as well. So yeah, you'll be none of me, but you'll be Dave and Bart back. The usual analysis as well. But Reds, look after yourself and you'll never walk alone.